egg on his faith. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Meet the constituency that the Biden campaign is desperately trying to win back.
Free Palestine! Stop the genocide! Free Palestine!
During the holiest time of the year for Christians in New York St. Patrick's Cathedral, the faithful could not even enjoy the celebration of the resurrection. The pro-Hamas protesters believe their cause trumps everything else. It was disgusting at every level. But was their disrespect, their sacrilege, condemned by the White House? By our president, who calls himself a Roman Catholic? Of course not. Because that would mean offending Muslim voters or left-wing activists. But the Biden administration, look, they're fine offending, even targeting Catholics and Christians of all denominations. Remember, it was back in 2022 that the FBI was considering the potential problems with traditional Catholics. And yesterday, the Biden team celebrated Trans Visibility Day, despite its coinciding with Easter. Now, this isn't a day started by them. It began back in 2010, but they have fully embraced the day, even plastering it all over their social media accounts. But Biden, confused himself, has proven good at confusing others.
I want to send a message to the entire community, especially to transgender children. You are loved. You are heard. You are understood, and you belong.
Because kids today aren't confused enough. But second point, if you're going to commemorate godlessness, at least have some respect for Christians and wait to do so another day. The left already celebrates godlessness 24/7 anyway, so an internationally designated day, week, or month is frankly redundant.
Today of all days, I stand proud and visible with my fellow transgender Americans. Happy Transgender Day of Visibility.
While the White House did its best to brush off the Easter uproar, Christians do get the message loud and clear. Look, they already know that if they live their faith openly, or frankly, if they ever posted anything about biblical teachings on human sexuality, well, in this administration, they'd be considered bigots or even potential domestic terrorists. Now, everyone knows there's no room in the Biden administration at any level for traditional Christians who believe that the Bible is actually the Word of God. But there is room for others.
We are going to fight and win wars with brain power. And if those brains happen to be in a trans body or in any other body, you should want them serving alongside you.
Diversity is just so important in our culture. It's important for our country, for the world. And so we really need to welcome diversity and actually celebrate diversity.
Sorry, that might have been a little too much Rachel tonight. All right, all diversity except ideological or intellectual diversity, of course. They don't like any of that. The Biden team, the Democrats, the media, they believe, and frankly, they mandate total conformity and submission. If you question them at all, you're an outcast. You might be a racist, misogynist, etc. And the only way that you can be a Christian and not be a bigot is to be a cafeteria Catholic, or, you know, you can be more spiritual than religious. That's usually okay. It's so bad for Biden that even the fairly liberal Washington, D.C. Cardinal Wilton Gregory could not hide his own dismay.
I would say that he's very sincere about his faith, but like a number of Catholics, he picks and chooses dimensions of the faith to highlight while ignoring or even contradicting other parts. There's a phrase that we have used in the past, a cafeteria Catholic. You choose that which is attractive and dismiss that which is challenging.
All right, I love that. Okay. But does Biden even care?
Mass on Saturday, and we had a great Easter egg hunt. We actually take these plastic eggs and put some dollars in them.
This is education. So as you can see, there's something for everybody here.
Wait, did she actually, wait, did she actually say education?
I mean, I just think people are so tired of the negativity that is propagated that they just want to get engaged. They want to change things, and I'm optimistic.
At that point, he was just waiting for a question from the Easter Bunny. But look, Biden's verbal mumbles and stumbles, those are one thing, but his willingness to offend Christians, his failure to speak out against what his fellow Catholics had to put up with at St. Patrick's, that speaks volumes. If prayers at a large mosque during a Muslim holy day had been similarly disrupted and ruined, but let's say pro-Israel protesters, some type of Christian protesters, I have a feeling we would have heard from the White House. Now, remember, their messaging is always political, though. And now, well, Christians hear them. There's one group that the Biden administration does seem to be worried about offending with his transgender visibility proclamation, Hispanics. Now, yesterday, the White House's English language X, Instagram, and Facebook accounts all had a long post dedicated to transgender Americans. There was also a brief Happy Easter from the Biden-Harris administration post. But on the Spanish language versions of those same social media pages, La Casa Blanca, the transgender posts seem to be missing. Huh. Joining me now is Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. Congresswoman, good to see you tonight. Why would the administration leave that post off? I'm sure it was just an oversight.
No, not at all. In fact, it was intentional. You know, this administration has been angling to get back the Hispanic voting bloc, which, Laura, I'll remind you that Hispanic Americans, specifically of Mexican descent, are now the largest voting minority in the country. And this whole issue of Trans Awareness Day over Easter would not bow well, especially with the community of which I so proudly represent, which is largely Catholic and Christian. And so when they do this, it's intentional. Laura, they are losing the Hispanic American vote in droves. And I'm happy to say that because of that, I do believe Trump will be winning in November.
Now, we asked the White House about this decision not to post about trans visibility on their Spanish language pages, and they told us that's the case with most tweets from the English language account. Okay, wait a second. Okay, so what they're saying, Congresswoman, is they are implicitly admitting, not implicitly, explicitly admitting that Latino voters should get a totally different message than everyone else. How demeaning. What does that mean?
It's not the first time. Remember, we had Jill Biden calling us breakfast tacos. You had President Biden during his election playing Despacito. So it's not the first time that this administration and this president have really disrespected Hispanic Americans.
Well, Congresswoman, of course, the regime media, as I like to call them, tried to deflect this controversy by pointing to President Trump's Truth Social Easter post, where he referenced some of his legal persecutors whom he despises. Watch.
The Easter Day post on Truth Social, the former president went after Special Counsel Jack Smith, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, and Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis.
The former president then spent Easter Sunday ranting for hours on social media, saying things that you wouldn't say on any day.
Okay, if Easter is not really anything sacrosanct, Congresswoman, we saw what happened at St. Patrick's at the Vigil Mass. We saw the trans visibility. But if it's just another day, that's what the secular left believes, then why does it matter what Trump says?
Well, again, they're trying to skew this. They did not highlight the fact that President Trump put out an amazing, basically honoring the sacrifice that Jesus Christ made for humanity. They've conveniently left that out, just like they conveniently leave out the fact that President Trump has not ever said anything xenophobic or racist about immigrants. So they're trying to spin it. But I agree with your point. I mean, the fact is that they are absolutely doing everything that they can to, I believe, really slap Christians in the face on one of a known national holiday. And frankly, it's pretty sad to see coming out of this administration.
Oh, it's the holiest day of the year for Christians. I mean, you know, where we go to Mass, you know, it's usually fairly crowded, but standing room only at the masses. This is great to see. But Congressman, we need a Hispanic Rush Limbaugh. That's what we need. I want all Hispanic Americans to hear the truth about what these people are doing. Congresswoman, great to see you. Come back soon.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
It's not about justice. It's not about agenda. It's not about mobilizing people. It's about dialing for corporate dollars. These two parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.